Hi everyone and welcome to Just Love. My name's Paula and I'm here with Judy. Hi Judy.
Hi Paula, hi everyone.
Today Judy is going to talk to us about what she calls the Cosmic Conundrum.
Yes.
One of them.
The Cosmic Conundrum. In many of our episodes of Just Love, we've talked about there being no time, no place in the greater reality, but I know many people have a great deal of trouble wrapping their minds around this. Even many otherwise brilliant scientists have trouble taking this on board, along with the fact that all dimensions exist right here, right now. Hence their difficulty in accepting, let alone explaining such things as ghosts, ET contact, the Loch Ness Monster, out-of-body and near-death experiences, etc. With only 10% of our potential conscious awareness to rely on, it is hard to understand these non-physical things. But nevertheless, it's a big step to deeper soul knowledge.
Absolutely. And we haven't been taught to understand it. Even with just the 10% of our potential conscious awareness, we could have had a better understanding if we had have been given a teaching that encapsulates a more complete way of looking at it.
Yes, that's for sure. And even the way we understand reincarnation is not quite correct, because in the greater reality, everything is in the now. In other words, we don't have past and future lives. All that many lives are actually being lived in the here and now. And speaking of the reality of reincarnation, most Western religions totally deny the fact that we live more than one single life. Jesus taught about it, but this extremely important information was removed from his teachings several hundred years after the crucifixion, when the Roman emperors Constantine and Justinian created a religion that enabled the government to control people through fear and lack of proper understanding. And as well as this ploy of the denial of reincarnation, the deeper understanding of there really being no time or place in the greater reality is way beyond the understanding of most Earth humans.
And that's huge, really, to get your head around the fact that in the greater reality, everything is in the now, and that there really is no past or future.
It sure is. A good way to gain deeper understanding is through the analogy of two people, one in a boat travelling on a long and winding river, and another flying above in a helicopter. The person in the boat can recall where they've been, which is their past, and can see a short distance in front, but cannot see past the next bend in the river, their future. The person overhead in the helicopter, however, can look down and see the whole river, exactly where the boat person has been, is right at the moment, and where they're headed around the bend. The person in the boat represents our lower physical self, and the person in the helicopter is our higher self.
Yes, I really like that analogy. It really helps.
It does, doesn't it? Another great example I was given years ago by one of the grey teachers working through a friend is to visualise a stage full of dancers, with each of them doing their own individual performance. The stage is in total darkness except for a single spotlight that only focuses on one dancer at a time, even though all of them continue to perform. The spotlight represents the 10% of conscious awareness that we are able to access through our physical brain, which can only focus on one life at a time, even though we are really living all our lives at once in the now.
Yeah, that's really helpful as well.
That friend was pushing me, I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
He sure was. All of these various lives make up our soul, which in the greater reality is the 100% consciously aware part of us, expressing itself through multiple forms to gain maximum experience. When we tap into these other lives, we are actually tapping into another part of our soul, which in turn is part of an even larger soul group. In reality, we are all one.
So you're talking here about past lives and future lives on Earth, but are you also talking about past lives and future lives on other planets and in other dimensions? Like we've been saying, it's not easy to get your head around all of this, but your analogies really help.
Yes, we are also talking about lives on different planets and in different dimensions, because we all have these multiple experiences elsewhere, which enable some of us to recall lives that are not of Earth. This is also how any number of people can believe they've been Cleopatra, Tutankhamun, Plato, etc. in a past life. Providing it isn't just ego at play, which it can very well be, it's still possible for anyone to feel such a connection through the oneness of soul.
Yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of that, both ego at play, but also genuine.
We can also feel a past life connection with somebody who actually died after we were born. It's simply that we're picking up on a soul connection with that person. In the greater reality, their time of death and our time of birth don't count, as everything is in the now.
Judy, you've explained before many times about the human ladder. Can you explain how your dual soul consciousness works from both your human and Zeta aspects, and how they are different rungs of the ladder, and how you, Judy, and Alorca tie in using the human ladder? Does that make sense?
Yes, Paula, it does. All of us have aspects of ourselves on all 10 levels of the human ladder. In this sense, our evolution up through the levels represents our path to self-realisation, as it's an opening up of deeper and more expanded levels of conscious awareness of self. In most cases, when we're visited by an ET, a spirit guide or an angel, it's actually a part of our own higher self that is contacting us from a higher rung of the ladder. To use myself as an example, I, Judy, am consciously operating from level 1 as an Earth human living on Earth. At the same time, I have conscious access to my ET life as a Lorca, who is operating on a higher rung of the ladder, I think about level 4 or 5. Through her, I can access a deeper and more expanded level of conscious awareness. Through Alorca, I can tap into Maris, our tall grey-mantled teacher, who is also part of our higher self. Maris is on an even higher rung of the ladder, level 8, I think, so he's even more consciously awakened. These other aspects of me are right here, right now. It's just a matter of me, Judy, being able to expand my conscious awareness enough to enable me to link into them. This is the reason why, back in 1983, when I first connected consciously with the Greys, they backed up what my friend had been telling me. They strongly advised me to learn to meditate, because that is the way to open up to these higher levels. Spiritual practice is the only way to open one's consciousness in this way. I had been trying to do this without much success, having been a very physically oriented dancer by profession. This is why the Greys advised me to take up Tai Chi, which is also known as moving meditation. I always say this is the best advice I've ever been given, as I'm still doing it, loving it, and in fact teaching it nearly 40 years later.
Wow. That was wonderful, the way the Greys were able to advise you that way to get into the meditation through Tai Chi. Because being a part of your own self, they would have understood the difficulty that you were having with the normal sitting type of meditation.
Yes, for sure. I didn't even know what Tai Chi was back then, so they explained to me that it was like yoga, which I had heard of, but with more movement.
Yeah. So thanks, Jude. And if people want to read more about all of this, Judy's books can be accessed from Amazon through her website, which is listed below, and they are
Human by Day, Zeta by Night, followed by the Zeta Message, then Extraterrestrial Presence on Earth, Lessons in History, and my two most recent books, both Kindle editions and also both available in German, An Interview with an Alien, Comments by an Undercover ET, and Cosmic Spirituality, Blending Religion and Science in Oneness from an Off-Planet Perspective. I'd like to just add something here before we finish. I'm in the process of rereading Helen Downs' book entitled Spirit Seeds, An Introductory Guide to Some of Life's Mysteries. It's a brilliant book with great information on all things beyond 3D. I did a talk many years ago at a meditation group she was running back then, and some ET contact happened to a couple of people attending the group, which she describes in the book. Helen's book can be ordered through a link on my website. Just go to the links page.
Oh, that's great, Judy. And thanks everyone for listening. Please share, like and subscribe. Sending you all much love, and bye for now.